I identify as bisexual.
I definitely identify as being queer.
I like guys. I like girls. Bisexual.
I really just identify as gay because it's easiest.
Well, I get to be the token queer kid at my school.
I'm bisexual, and I also consider myself queer.
For me, it's not whether or not I consider myself lesbian or gay or bisexual or whatever. I don't think that's quite as important. For me, it's the fact that I'm in a relationship right now, and that person happens to be a girl, and that's all I need.
Studies generally show that at least 10% of the population is gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgender. So odds are, in every classroom where a teacher tells her students that a gay author is going to hell, there are several students wondering if they'll suffer the same fate. And in every hallway where one kid beats another for being a faggot, there are several youth now scared of being assaulted themselves. Youth in the Triangle are in many ways fortunate. Living in a fairly urban area and going to liberal high schools, we escape much of the blatant homophobia that plagues more rural areas of North Carolina. But in the Old North State, where sex education includes no mention of homosexuality, except the fact that homosexual conduct is a felony under state law, queer youth still face bigotry and harassment nearly every day. Here, in their own words, are their stories. Our stories. About our parents, our friends, our partners, and what it's like to live our lives in a world that constantly challenges our identity.
In 4th grade, someone called me gay, and I didn't know what it meant. And that was probably pretty significant because the way I learned, what being gay was that it was an insult directed at me.
Did you realize that you were not straight?
8th grade.
8th grade. You realized, or you?
I realized.
Huh. What was that like?
It was very, very much something that was very odd for me because I never considered that before. And all of a sudden, it was, first of all, I started having a crush on someone who was a very good friend of mine, and that was very odd.
And I became acquainted with a really good friend who happened to be gay, and we were really, really close and affectionate with each other. And then other people would see us and see us hanging out, and I would hear whispers and things like that. And then so over the summer between my 10th and 11th grade, I really started wondering, does this mean I'm gay? I mean, is that what I am? Is that where I have to be? And so I thought about it a whole lot, and I came to the conclusion actually over the summer that I was straight. I honestly thought that I was, and then I got back to school for the 11th grade, and having thought through things a bit more, I just kind of noticed that, wait, I'm attracted to boys too, and girls some, but that element was there. So over the 11th grade, I kind of went through the process of first coming to terms with it myself, and then eventually letting a few friends in on it, and then I spent basically the whole year just kind of building myself up and reaching out into that way of life, if you will, or into that community, and then eventually getting to the point where I could tell my parents.
What are you going to say?
I don't know. See, that's the thing, is I've been thinking about that for a long time. But really, what can you say? I'm bisexual. I know I am. This isn't something that I think I am, and this isn't something that I need to get sent to a psychiatrist for. And I mean, maybe that's just my defensiveness to my parents speaking, but really, what else is there that you can say except what your parents want to know, even if it doesn't apply to the situation?
I haven't told my parents. It was actually really interesting because my father found a love letter that I had misplaced. He was very calm about the whole thing. He just came to me and he was like, so tell me about your relationship with this other girl. And then so we talked about it, and then he started asking me questions like, what makes you think that you want a woman as a life partner instead of marrying a man? Before we were really close, and now it's kind of like there's a wall between us, even though a lot of the times we try to act like nothing's changed, and we try to understand each other more. It's still like this wall is separating us, and it's the first time I've ever thought that he was anything of a stranger.
I came out at school because I was sort of forced to, and came out to my parents because I was very open about my sexuality and my crushes at school. So people at my school knew that I was having crushes on girls and boys alike, and kids talk, and someone talked to their parent about it, and my school is very small, so the kids talk to the parents, and the parents all talk to each other. I came home from school one day and my mother was crying, and I sat down and asked her why, and she couldn't talk about it for a few minutes, and eventually she said that someone had called her and told her that I was out, and that she thought that she made up a lot of excuses, that she thought I wasn't going to be safe, or she thought that I wasn't ready to decide such a thing, or that I would have people talking about me in the halls, and she was scared for me.
But one evening I was at my meditation group, and I was just sitting and thinking, and it just occurred to me that it really would be the best for everyone involved if I would just go ahead and do it.
I just blurted out, I need to tell you something. Had a bit of stalling, and then I blurted out, I'm bisexual. My mom was the first one to respond, and her response was that she'd kind of known, and then immediately after that she said, I love you. And that was really powerful because it was very spontaneous. It wasn't like she was going with some pre-prepared script.
When I came out, my mom said, "Oh, is that all?" Like that's the famous line, because she thought it was something fantastically worse, that I was doing heroin or something, because I delivered it in such a dramatic, like, "Mom, I've got a secret to tell you." And she and that's exactly what she said. She said, "Oh, like, that's nothing. I mean, it's not really any of my business."
In the summer after my 9th grade year, I began to fall in love with a girl.
We actually met at this movie that they were showing about gay and queer life in America, and we ended up on the steps, of the library, like cuddling and talking about this, and we ended up carrying on what was at least a physical relationship. I mean, not really a sexual relationship, but eventually it became one, on the last night there for about 2 weeks, and completely and totally incognito.
I never heard of bisexuality before, and that's where I learned of it from. And that was a really great experience for me. I was very excited to learn that there was this whole other option that I hadn't even considered and didn't even know existed.
His name was Phil, and we dated for 2 days. And then my next one was Ryan. We dated for a week. And then my next one was Paul, and we dated for a month. And then I kind of dated Adam, and then I kind of dated Kevin, and then I am dating Nick.
He was one of the first people who definitely made me realize my sexuality. And before John, I had, liked a few boys here and there, but John was the first one who I had really fallen for. I fell pretty hard. We saw each other over about a 3 to 4 week period, where we talked on the phone for hours, and it was just really good.
If Adam had come along at a different point in my life with a little different viewpoint, I probably would still be with him.
I remember last year at a math competition, when the two of us were sharing a seat during the awards, and seeing this one lady from the next table over giving us this really scandalized, "Oh, this is the evilest thing in the world. May God strike you down with his bolts of lightning" look.
Helen's experience is not uncommon among queer youth. Homophobia, whatever its cause, is prevalent in our society, and most of the teenagers we spoke with agreed that they felt uncomfortable going out in public with someone of the same gender. But outside of odd looks from strangers, homophobia comes in many forms and appears in many places.
The prevalence of homophobia it's pretty hard to explain. I wish I knew so that I could correct it. But then again, people say that about homosexuality. I wish I knew what caused it so I could fix it, which which is a pretty odd idea to me. But
I've had teachers make some homophobic comments about, especially in English classes, about authors or poets that we were learning about in regards to their sexual orientation.
I had this English teacher who was a Baptist minister in Raleigh, and she had a habit of condemning me to hell, like whenever she felt necessary to, and she condemned me to hell because of my sexuality. Whenever a gay author came up in our studies, she would point out the fact that he is a homosexual and that he's probably burning in hell right now with all the other homosexuals and all the other deviant people in the world.
in terms of the general school population, I feel like that homophobia is really, really prevalent and really present.
People at school tend to classify people and lump them into cliques. And I'm perceived more as a nerd, and nerds aren't supposed to be gay, I suppose. So,
But I think the biggest thing is that when people just don't think about the idea, that itself becomes, oppressive in a sense that, it's just so much of an effort. And I think that's important because, at least in my life, I haven't dealt with overt, terrible homophobia. I've just dealt with the fact that it was just that I simply had to put forth that effort, that I, had to make these big leaps of telling people.
I'm trying to start a GSA, similar to a GSA discussion group in my school, or I have started it, but I've definitely encountered some problems with that. And when I first had the idea to do it, I wrote a long letter with the reasons why I thought it would be important to have in my school, and with some statistical information and that sort of thing, and submitted it to my headmaster and to my director at the time. And they both read over it, and it was told to me that I had to meet with the headmaster of my school to discuss it before I could start it. And he repeatedly refused to meet with me, or told me he was busy and to come back.
I think the administration doesn't necessarily think too seriously about issues, that relate to the gay lesbian community.
In terms of counselors and things like that, I don't know. I don't really feel all that comfortable talking to adults, particularly straight adults, about my sexual orientation. Just I guess because of the generation gap, that it just seems to get reinforced over and over again. And to me, from my experience, that it's like adults are not the enemy, but just people that I'm not comfortable sharing with.
As a youth, do you think that there's space in the mainstream gay community for youth?
I don't think so. I mean, I just, maybe space could be made, but I don't see any sort of, interaction going on. As a kid, I never knew, there are gay and lesbian organizations out there that I could go to get some sort of help from or whatever.
I feel like for someone who's questioning, or just wants to meet someone to talk to, or would like to meet someone their own age to compare experiences with, or an older mentor, I feel like there really is lacking a good way for them to connect in. Just more places that were visible with the fact that they're safe places, that they're tolerant places, whether it's a safe zone sticker or a rainbow in the window, or just something subtle that will let people know that this is a place where I can go and it's okay. I just really want to know that there are normal people that go to work and live in houses and have marriage partners just like everyone else. To know, just to be comfortable with the fact that it doesn't have to be a scary thing. It doesn't have to be a deviant lifestyle. It really can be a fulfilling and healthy and self-affirming lifestyle to live.
I haven't encountered this so much personally, but I think a lot of the gay community is just a tiny bit racially prejudiced. I don't want to stereotype here, but usually when people think gays or gay community, you have this image of these tree-hugging white males and females, and generally the males.
You know, I've wondered why my sexual orientation is such a prominent part of my life, but I'm not really sure. It just seems that back when I considered myself straight, when I thought that I was straight, it would never cross my mind. I would never go through a day thinking, hey, I'm straight. Whereas now, I mean, it's really on my mind a whole lot. I guess it just keeps getting pushed into my face. Like when I'll see a boy and a girl in public, you know, kissing all over each other, and then I'll just, you know, emphasize the fact that I can't do that with my boyfriend of the time. And
I mean, being queer has given me a lot of insights that I wouldn't have had being straight, and it's given me a lot of opportunities to overcome some obstacles that have come up because I'm not heterosexual.
I think being not heterosexual has been a very good experience for me in most senses, and any negative experiences that I've had have been learning experiences and growing experiences for me, and understanding that not everyone has the same views and opinions of things, and working within that to still create a relationship with people has been very fulfilling for me.
I really can't imagine being anything else. At the very least, I'd be someone completely different. I know a lot of people say that it's just one small part of who they are, but it's affected so much of the recent years of my life, you know, how I cope with things, the kind of questions that I've spent my time thinking about. And as a result of that, I'd just be someone completely different, and I can't imagine changing who I am in that regard.
I mean, I walk out in public with my girlfriend and I get odd looks. If you want to ask me if I like being homosexual, I like being with her, but I don't like the fact that other people have to put so much emphasis on the fact that she's a female as well as me, as opposed to just that we're together.
What we've shown constitutes only a tiny fraction of the lives of these teenagers. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender young people in the new millennium are in a unique situation. Although they live in an age of tolerance, these youths still face bigotry and prejudice from many angles. Even the simple act of going out in public with a partner can raise eyebrows and even violence. But in spite of all these obstacles, life goes on. And that life is fulfilling, joyful, and definitely all right.
My boyfriend currently, he and I have been dating for 5.5 months at this point, and our first kiss is a memory of mine that really, like, it's a funny story just because, you know, we had been circling around each other, like, trying to find the way to do it. I mean, I'm talking like figuratively. We weren't literally walking in circles around each other, but we went on several dates, just really sweet dates, like really good. We went to Pullen Park and walked around and ate tofuti, and which is vegan ice cream for those of you that don't know. And we just had a really good time, and we went on several dates, and I really wanted to kiss him, you know, and I know now that he really wanted to kiss me. And the night I came back from a 2-month trip to Virginia, and we had been corresponding through letters and emails. And so I came back, and then we went out to dinner, and he bought dinner, which was really sweet. I wasn't even really expecting it. And then we went to Pullen Park, and we were both like, he was going away for 2 weeks, and then we just wanted it to be like a nice date and potentially have a nice kiss. And we started talking about it. Like, we were like, so, you know, when we have our first kiss, it's going to be amazing. Like, I'm going to probably like faint. And we were just joking around about it a lot the whole night. And then when we did kiss, it was amazing. Like, it was a really good kiss. And it was just like, it just made me really happy, because that's what everybody who's in a relationship goes through. And like, it just affirmed my own sexuality and my own desires. And I just felt really complete in myself. And it was a good first kiss. I mean, it was amazing.